Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Paola and today I'm going to talk about my reading plans for the next 3 months. So April, May, and June. So I realize that it is the end of April by the time that you are seeing this, but I am filming this on April 14th. So I feel confident that I'm going to meet my goal regardless. And that's why I'm sitting down to talk about it, because I really do want to keep myself accountable to these. So let us get started. Number 1, I want to read 24 books in the next 3 months. That's a really cool number to me. It's also a very nice average of books to read every month. 8 books a month sounds really solid. And I'm very, very excited, especially because of the kinds of books that I want to prioritize. But that is point number 3. Point number 2 is that I want to stick to my book buying ban. I have a couple of pre-orders from a couple of indie authors that I placed back in, I want to say February, maybe. Don't get me wrong, I love books, I love buying books, but it just got out of hand, and that's why I'm sticking to my book buying ban. So other than those books, I will not be buying any more books until like maybe my birthday, maybe. Anyway, goal number 3, and this is the most important one because these are the books that I want to prioritize. First and foremost, I would love to prioritize these books right here, my physical TBR. I own a ridiculous amount of physical books and I have not read nearly enough of them to keep justifying my book buying problem. So the goal is to heavily prioritize the physical TBR over anything else. And for that, I also have books that I want to prioritize. I have 2 lovely little categories. The first one is series. I own a couple of contemporary series and I own a couple of fantasy starters. So we shall see where this thing goes. But the main ones that I want to get through are Quiereme Trilogy by Anaí Lopez. I got this little thing back in, I think it was like 2019. This is YA, it is coming of age, and the first one I read a million years ago. I really want to revisit it and then obviously read the next 2 books, which I never ended up reading. But yes, contemporary YA, set in Mexico, it is in Spanish, and I'm very, very excited about tackling these. And series number 2 that I would love to prioritize is the Brown Sisters series. This is contemporary adult romance by Talia Hibbert, one of my absolute all-time favorite romance authors. The first one is Get a Life, Chloe Brown, Take a Hint, Danny Brown, and Act Your Age, Eve Brown. Everybody knows and loves these series, and like I said, Talia is one of my absolute favorite romance authors. So I really cannot wait to finally dive into this. I've owned this since 2021. I realize that's not a long time to own a book and not read it, especially in the corners of the internet where I hang out. But still, I bought them for a reason and I can't believe I haven't read them. And the second category is fantasy. This second category is very exciting and very daunting to me. So the first one is The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. This was published, I want to say in like 2015. I don't even know, but I remember when I first joined BookTube, this was it. Everybody was reading it, everybody was recommending it, and I was like, yeah, that sounds like a whole lot of fun. But I never ended up reading it or whatever, and then I got this used but very beautiful copy. Also in 2021, I went absolutely bonkers in 2021 in terms of book buying. Anyway, that's not the point. So this is YA, this is romance, and it says right here, I just read this little blurb. It says, a riveting Game of Thrones meets Arabian Nights love story. I am so intrigued by that little premise. I started reading it back in February, but that was when my focus was out of control. Like I couldn't figure out what I wanted to read, what I was even reading. Like I genuinely forgot that I started reading this book until a minute ago when I saw my little bookmark. But yes, this is YA, it's romance, it's fantasy, it's very intimidating. I'm very used to my lovely little contemporary side of things, but I really do want to branch out and expand my horizons in terms of genres. Next up is Three Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake. This one I think came out in 2017 or something like that. And this one was also the talk of the town amongst the fantasy booktubers. Everybody was talking about it, and it got pretty divisive reviews. Like, some people loved it, some people really didn't care for it, and I am very, very excited to find out where I am at. This was super cheap at the bookstore. I think it was like maybe $10 at most, and I plan on having the time of my life with this. I cannot wait. It is very, very tempting to me to get the rest of the series, but again, I need to see where I land on this one. This one is about three sisters who have to like fight to the death for the throne or something like that. I like to go into books not knowing a lot. That might not be the way that it goes for fantasy, but once again, I'm very excited about figuring out where I land with YA fantasy. I'm very, very excited about this whole journey. I'm definitely gonna be vlogging, so keep an eye out for that. And finally, the fantasy duology that I want to start and finish, Incendiary and Illusionary by Zoraida Cordova. I want to say this is YA, but I could be completely wrong. This is a chunky duology. I am very excited about it. I know it's like inspired by the Spanish Inquisition, so that sounds like it's gonna be one hell of a political ride. And the most exciting thing about this is that, I know I already mentioned this in one of my videos, but I love the fact that this is signed. This one is also signed. I'm gonna cry myself to sleep, guys. This is so exciting to me. Signed books. I never thought they would be my jam just because I never owned them. So I was like, I don't really get the hype. But now that I do own signed copies, I'm like, oh, my babies. So that was for the physical TBR. On to my digital TBR. I have two separate sections, and I wrapped them up very, very nicely, and I'm excited about that. So the first one is obviously the ebooks, and for ebooks, I really want to tackle my indie e-arcs. I have so many freaking e-arcs by indie authors, and I feel so bad that I haven't read them in full to even give a review. It is very, very embarrassing, but yes. So the first two are books that I started and I just never got around finishing them because life has been very overwhelming. So the first one is Sweet Vengeance. It is monster romance. It is sexy as hell, and I can't wait to find out where it all ends up. I am like 70% through, so it should be fairly easy to tackle that. And I know I haven't finished it, but I am recommending it to you already because it just feels so real to me. It is so atmospheric and present and so sexy as well. Please go check it out. I feel like this is a great starter monster romance for those of you who are, testing the waters. I think this one is a solid way to start your journey into your descent into madness with monster romance. The second one that I started and I never got around finishing was Last Sunrise in Eterna by Amparo Ortiz. This is YA fantasy. It is also a magical competitions, very much in line with her duology of Blaze Wrath games. This one does not have dragons, but it has elves, and it is so fun, such high stakes, and I cannot wait to keep on reading it. And the next couple of e-arcs that I own, which is a ridiculous amount, are From the Match. That one I absolutely have to read because I have to get ready for the Novel Tindie live event of it all. Please go check us out. With a Vengeance, which I think is monster romance, maybe gothic. I'm sorry, I should have absolutely checked the synopses of these before I started talking about them, but I am so pumped. I've read Exodus 23 by Freidy's Moon, so I really cannot wait to dive into the rest of their books. And the second Freidy's Moon title is Three Kings. This one is cozy fantasy and I believe is polyamorous. The second category is obviously audiobooks, and the audiobooks that I want to focus on are non-fiction. your table is ready. And I believe it's about a restaurateur or a restaurant owner. Are those the same thing? Maybe, who knows? In New York. And it's all about what it's like to be in a restaurant, work a restaurant, own a restaurant. So that one is very, very exciting to me. The next couple of ones are self-help slash workbooks for like entrepreneurs and stuff. And since I am really like diving into novel Tindi, I want to just do the absolute best that I can. And right now my best is very limited because I don't have a lot of knowledge concerning how to run a business and how to make it as profitable as possible while also making it super purposeful, which it is super purposeful. So I am, these are the books that I want to read so that I can get novel Tindi more off the ground and into more people's faces. The books are The Swipe Right Customer Experience, Purpose and Profit, Artpreneur, and Write for Life. So obviously Write for Life is not necessarily tied to novel Tindi, although it could be if I ever decided to go the self-publishing route. Right now I just want to get back into writing. I haven't written in a very, 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 very long time, and I'm struggling a lot, so I need all the help I can get, and that one sounds like a really great, maybe not solution, but a really great resource. And the last nonfiction audiobook that I want to tackle in the next 3 months is called Superfan, and it's about like pop culture, being a fan person, like belonging to a fandom, fan community, and all the ups and downs that comes with that. I'm very, very, very pumped about it all. I require a lot of discipline. It's been one hell of a wild ride trying to get me to read lately, but I am very excited about the idea of it all, especially now that I have the books that I want to prioritize, both in terms of physical, digital, and ebooks. I love that I found a nice, lovely category to fit them all in. So that should be way easier for me to not just read and focus on, but also to do a vlog of, which I am working on. But the trouble is I haven't started any of the books. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the description below for my Patreon and other social media places that I'm at. If you join my Patreon, you will get early access to all of my videos, exclusive content, and a newsletter. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already and you'd like to, go ahead and hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!